Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the prestigious Pocono Raceway for the graduation ceremony of the class of 2020. At this time, I'd like to welcome the members of our school board, our superintendent, Dr. Lazisco, my fellow administrators, all of our district's teachers and staff, but most importantly, I'd like to welcome our seniors along with their parents, guardians, family, and friends. I'd like to thank the Pocono Raceway, specifically Ricky, Bo, and Kevin, for their hard work and efforts in giving us the opportunity to have a safe ceremony in their facility and all the work they put in to making today happen. I'd like to thank Blue Ridge Communications for graciously offering up their services for us today to make sure our event is broadcasted. I'd also like to thank everyone from our Pleasant Valley community that played a part in today's ceremony. None of this could have happened without you, and I thank you very much for that. Today we are here to celebrate a very special group of young men and women that fought through a tremendous amount of adversity to be able to cross that finish line in about an hour's time and call themselves a high school graduate. COVID-19 may have taken away the last few months of our seniors' final year in high school, but it won't take away this very special day that all of you so much deserve. Please follow along today with your commencement program. Take special note that after Dr. Lazisco presents the class of 2020, we will begin awarding the diplomas. This will take place directly in front of me at the finish line. As the cars near the finish line, the graduate's name will be read and their diploma will be handed to them through their window. We do have a professional photographer here from Christmas City Studio that will capture this moment for each senior. And parents, you were given information when you arrived in regards to how you can purchase these photos. Before we get to the singing of our national anthem, I would like to pause for a moment of silence for all friends, family, and loved ones we have lost that could not be with us here today. Thank you. While we recognize we cannot rise, we ask that you please recognize the flag as you listen to Senior Giovanni Marini sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Gio. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you John Barry, one of our 2 salutatorians this year, as he gives you his salutatorian's address.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to our Board of Education and Administration. They go above and beyond, behind the scenes, dedicating their time and energy to our education. I'd like to thank all of the parents, friends, and family members in attendance, because I think I speak for everyone when I say we wouldn't be here without you. Thank you to all of our awesome teachers and faculty members who have created an environment of positivity, growth, and education, all while creating bonds with students that, for some, will last a lifetime. Look at us, the class of 2020. This was definitely not the ending to high school that any of us imagined, but here we are, turning the page to new beginnings. Whether that means going to college, trade school, serving our country in the military, or straight into the workforce, I'm excited to see where everyone ends up. If life is like a game of football or basketball, you'd say this is the end of the first quarter. And since it's a game, we need points, because who doesn't like a little competition, right? We can think of points in life as generally being the amount of happiness you spread and the fulfillment you feel. Maybe it's through creating lasting memories, irreplaceable friendships, giving back to the community, spiking on Mr. Chill at the volleyball tournament, or buying yourself a Cybertruck. I'm looking at you, Mr. Watinsky. Whatever it may be, hopefully you've scored a lot of points and will continue to as you progress through the rest of the game that we call life. If you haven't amassed a tremendous lead, that's fine too. Realistically, we're not even a quarter of the way through. Trust me, you have plenty of time. That being said, don't take your time for granted, because you can't hit rewind and take it back. Every second is precious, so make it count. I challenge you all to take every opportunity you can to score points, make yourself happy, and make others around you happy. Listen to your friends and parents, or teammates and coaches, because they can see the whole field, while you can only see what's directly in front of you. Anyways, the clock is ticking, so I won't take up any more of your time. Make the most of it before the final whistle blows and clock runs out.
Thank you, John. You know, I actually have a 50-inch vertical jump. It's been tested. But the day of the volleyball tournament, not to get into a long story, Mr. Rensheimer, he sweats a lot, and he happened to be standing right next to me, and I slipped in a puddle of his sweat when I went up to block you. So old age, I guess. I don't know. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Valedictorian and Salutatorian, but not to give their address. This year, we didn't have the opportunity for our choir to sing a class song, so Emily Gethin and Ether Fisher-Perez took it upon themselves to make this happen. They will be singing The River of Dreams by Billy Joel, but you'll see they put a Pleasant Valley twist into it. Enjoy the song.
Of the night, I go walking in my sleep, from the mountains of faith to a river so deep. I must be looking for something, something sacred I lost, but the river is wide, it's too hard to cross. And even though I know the river is wide, I walk down every evening and I stand on the shore and try to cross to the opposite side so I can finally find what I've been looking for. In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep, through the valley of fear, to a river so deep. And I've been searching for something, taken out of my soul, something I would never lose, something somebody stole. I don't know why I go walking at night, but now I'm tired and I don't want to walk anymore. I hope it doesn't take the rest of my life until I find what it is I've been looking for. In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep, through the jungle of doubt, to a river so deep. I know I'm searching for something, something so undefined, that it can only be seen by the eyes of the blind, in the middle of the night. Not sure about life after this, God knows I've always been a PV bear. To the teachers and the friends I love, thank you for the memories that we share. On graduation night, we go driving at the raceway. Hey, we still finish high school. At the end of the day, we all end in the ocean. We all start in the streams. We're all carried along by the river of dreams, in the middle of the night.
Thank you for making sure your class deservedly got a song. At this time, I'd like to welcome back to the Jumbotron and your radios, Ethan Fisher-Perez, one of our 2 salutatorians this year, as he gives you his salutatorian's address.
Good evening, school board, Pleasant Valley administrators, staff, and PV students and their families. I was, still am, and will forever be a scared little kid. My earliest memories are of being nervous. In 1st grade, I would write over my pencil marks several times to achieve my desired darkness, but it was never as much as I hoped it would be. I was competitive to the point of dread even when I was 6. I would try my hardest to read most fluently and win games against my classmates. The potential of failure frightened me, and so I avoided its possibility whenever I could. In 3rd grade, I would check my backpack dozens of times on the car ride to school to make absolutely sure I had brought my homework with me. I forgot my guided reading journal one time, and my mom's upset reaction enforced my compulsion to unzip, leaf through the contents of my backpack with the intent of seeing and feeling my due work, feeling comforted by it, and zipping it back up again. I would forget in seconds whether I really had what I needed, and so I would check again. By the time I started at PVI, I had become proficient at avoiding competition. Any chance of failure, spelling bees, accelerated math, field day, kickball, was a threat to my sense of self. Even when I played football in 2nd grade and basketball shortly thereafter, I did the absolute most to avoid playing because it scared me. The fear I felt at those games was indescribable, but I had not yet gained the introspective skills to deal with or discuss it. In 6th grade, we took reading tests. In them, we would answer questions about a story we read as a class. I would often spend time the night before in my bed worrying about these tests, and I remember dreading the fact that the stress I would have to deal with would only get worse as I grew. On one such night, I promised myself to never forget how I felt as an 11-year-old and never devalue the stress of anyone else because they're young or their stress can be rationalized by an outsider. In 8th grade, I took Algebra 1 with Mr. West. The adjustment was horrible but necessary. As I cried and pulled out my hair over homework, my mom would sometimes hand me a 6-ounce cherry Coke with a bendy straw to comfort me. So I thank my mothers for being significantly more attuned to emotional troubles than most parents are. That class put me through a lot, and I came out with an 87. The summer before 9th grade was when I was made ravenously introspective by consequence. I worked at Camelback, and there I recognized that letting my thoughts spin uninterrupted for 8 hours at a time was really not for me. We all struggle with our thoughts sometimes, and it took a long time and consistent effort for me to turn that struggle into something positive. The thoughts I was having at the time made me uncomfortable. This is largely due to the fact that we are taught that emotions are either good or bad. Happiness and love are good, while anxiety and sadness are to be strictly avoided and counteracted as they arise. My thoughts had the tendency of dwelling on a subject and repetitively circling it for months at a time. After that amount of rumination, it was easy to grow fearful and frustrated at my thoughts and myself. I obviously didn't want my thoughts to behave as they had been, so I tried many different things to try and control or improve them. It took me a few years to realize that trying to fight the natural flow of my thoughts only made them worse. It was like I was laying in bed trying so hard to fall asleep and yet was still surprised at my inability to do so. Despite these thoughts, I was lucky enough to make sure I worried in the right direction. By this, I mean I tried focusing on the big picture and refusing myself the comfort of giving up on my grades, my friends, my family, and the struggle of self-improvement. I would allow myself to get perilously close, but I focused on what I knew I wanted and never fully let my guard down. By doing this, I learned to expect and take anxiety in stride. When I stopped trying to control my thoughts, I only put energy into controlling my actions. The people I respect most are the ones I perceive live most deliberately. Mrs. Parham is unequivocally good at her job. It takes less than 30 seconds in her room to see that. Although she's 60 years old, and that by her own definition makes her old, she's freakishly good at interacting with high school students. She would stand out at any school, but it's clear how much effort she puts into us. She gives us the right to challenge, talk back to, and joke about her. She's a refreshing figure in a public school, she and her room a deep breath apart from the rest of the building. My best friend and our valedictorian, Emily, has also shown me through her accomplishments what focused effort and removal of distractions can do. I'm so grateful I had the courage to ask her to be my friend on the first day of first grade within the first hours of my being in the Pleasant Valley School District. I respect these people because their lifestyles taught me that the less I worried about, the more I could effectively worry about. The difficulty comes in figuring out what I'm willing to fail for countlessly before I succeed. In other words, finding goals wherein my tribulations mean nothing to me because my grand purpose for doing them is worth it. No one expects you to be good at everything, and it's liberating to realize that you never will be. When I stopped trying to be the flawless prodigy I'm not, I could begin focused work on that which I care most about. I am also continually learning the value of keeping my brain on its toes. Every so often, I make a decision or perform an action in spite of my thoughts which beg me to do the opposite. We're given so many opportunities to go healthily against what our nervous brains tell us to do, and it's imperative that we take them and be braver than we think ourselves capable of. There are certainly a few of you that don't believe in mental health issues, but I implore you to remember that no one wants to be different. No one wants to feel like they're playing a game whose instructions they never learned. No one wants to fear for their lives, and no one wants to lose faith in themselves. So when people are different, remember that they didn't choose to be that way and empathize with them. We're much less capable of understanding other people's motivations than we think we are. We convince ourselves we understand other people's fears and try to convince them they're wrong for having them. Luckily, you don't have to understand someone in order to just listen to them. I used to think that I was the only one capable of feeling the way I did. It was selfish and naive for me to believe my problems were insuperable and unlike anyone had ever had. It comes in different types and under different names, but I'm sure our struggles are much more similar to each other's than we realize. So, PV Class of 2020, when you share your emotions with someone, do it earnestly and originally. Use none but your own words to explain how you feel. Try to make them see they're just like you, because I guarantee they are.
Thank you, Ethan. At this time, I'd like to introduce our class officers. President Rebecca McCready's, Vice President Ryan Rodriguez, Secretary Amelia Junta Baker, and Treasurer Tegan Angel, as they present the class gift and also give words of encouragement to the class of 2020.
Good evening, families, friends, administrators, staff, and fellow Pleasant Valley graduates. I'm Rebecca McCready's, President of the Pleasant Valley Class of 2020, and my speech tonight is to express a brief thank you and offer a few words of encouragement to my fellow graduates as we close one door and open another, leading to a new chapter of our lives. I would like to take this time to express my gratitude to all the people who have made a positive impact, both within our class and school community. On behalf of the Class of 2020, I would like to thank Dr. D'Agostino and Ms. Hunsinger, class advisors, for their guidance, support, and wisdom throughout the last 4 years. I would also like to thank Principal Mr. Triolo and administration for all they have done for the good of our class, especially within the last 5 months, to keep the Pleasant Valley community connected and safe. Please take this senior gift as a token of our appreciation. Thank you, teachers, for shaping our character throughout the years by providing us students with the knowledge and insight that we use in, and most certainly now, outside of the classroom. Thank you to all club directors and athletic coaches for pushing us students to reach new goals beyond any obstacle and expand our interests and passions. Thank you to the Board of Education for working to create effective change, and a special thank you to Mr. Keiss, Director of Pupil Services, for working closely with the officer team regarding mental health awareness throughout the last 1.5 years. I would also like to personally thank Ms. Parham and Ms. Phillips for their advocacy, encouragement, and friendship each and every day, from the gifted classrooms to free lunch periods, where you both have taught me to challenge myself and think in new ways. Lastly, I would like to thank my officer team, Ryan Rodriguez, Amelia Baker, and Tegan Angel, for not only being amazing leaders, go-getters, and passionate souls, but for being the best friends anyone could ask for. Now I would like to devote my last few words to the exceptional character and grit the Pleasant Valley Class of 2020 holds. As we all know, we are not moving forward from high school in the way we intended. But instead of reminding you of all the unmade senior memories and the abrupt last moments of our high school careers due to the coronavirus, I'd like to speak on the strength the Class of 2020 obtains and the new perspectives we gained firsthand. While we are enduring a global pandemic and facing major social injustices, it brings me hope knowing the Class of 2020 will have an interesting story to tell the generation ahead of us. We were given the opportunity to see the world in a new light. From this rare opportunity, we have learned new ways to communicate, grown stronger as a community by supporting each other, and gained a new understanding for the importance of kindness and generosity. Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye too early, and for some, even earlier. Reflecting on these events, I have come to understand we are not guaranteed anything in life. Instead, we are blessed for the good that life brings us. Therefore, we are responsible for how we choose to perceive and tackle the difficulties that come our way. Instead of focusing on the negative in the world right now, I encourage you all, Class of 2020, to leave here tonight with a new perspective on the lives we have been given and to take advantage of this rare opportunity to make something for ourselves and the world around us. Thank you.
Hello everyone. It's unfortunate that this is the way we have to see each other. However, I know we've been making the best out of everything. Although it was cut short, our senior year was a time to remember while it lasted. And now I'd like to share one of my favorite quotes. Behind you, all your memories. Before you, all your dreams. Around you, all who love you. Within you, all you need. Remember to be true to yourself and do what makes you happy. Congratulations, Pleasant Valley Class of 2020.
Hello everyone. Today is a day to celebrate our hard work and achievements and prepare to embark on the next chapter of our lives. However, it is crucial to remember those who cannot be here with us today, who deserve the same celebration. Those who work just as hard as us, alongside us, but cannot attain the same recognition. Sickness has taken a lot from us this year, but another sickness has taken far more from us before. What we have lost in sickness, we have gained in strength, resilience, and an understanding of one another. As we move on to our own unique individual paths, remember to carry that strength with you and, while bettering the world, fight that sickness every step of the way. Be kind, be thoughtful, be strong, and never forget the ones you've lost. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, Ryan, Amelia, and Tegan for representing and working for your class these past 4 years. It was truly a pleasure working with you all. At this time, I'd like to introduce Emily Gethin, the valedictorian of the class of 2020, to give her valedictorian's address.
Good evening, school board, PV district administration, faculty, staff, family, friends, and classmates. Bears, I struggled to choose what to say to you tonight. And you should take that as a compliment because it means I've had all sorts of beautiful memories worth mentioning whirling in my head, all of them with you. How difficult it is to condense the Bears' experience into something short and sweet. If I could look at all of you right now, wherever I were to look, I'd be flooded with affection and overcome with gratitude for your kindnesses and your good company all these years. Among you are so many people whom I dearly and truly love, like the makers of beautiful music I've met through band, and weren't we so ready to perform homage? Like my English classmates this year, none of whom possess a heart of darkness. Like Zach, Gio, and Curtis, who I had the pleasure of performing the plays with under the direction of the most wonderful people, the Mulligans and the Morrises. You guys are like family to me. To my childhood companions from Bus 60 or the cutthroat kickball fields of Polk Elementary, I cherish my memories with you just as those I share with my beautiful, amazing, perfect angel besties who live lives of love and kindness and make my world such a bright place to be. When I'm with all of these people, I get this feeling, I wonder if you would agree with me, lately that life takes on this senior year quality that allows nostalgia to show up right while you're living that moment. And sometimes as I make a memory, it appears like a delicate and precious glass bead in my mind, like inside out. It can be overwhelming to feel the sentimental current when I'm just trying to play sushi go at lunch or I'm just jamming out driving to school with my brother. But I recognize this mush in my heart as gratitude. I am so thankful to you all for the goodness you've shown me. Hardly a day went by where I didn't enjoy my time at school. Maybe that's weird, but it's mostly because of you. Tegan, you're fantastic at speaking your wonderful mind. Jesse, you're full to the brim with knowledge. Canyon, Nate, you guys are brainy as can be, but more importantly, so kind. You brilliant, brilliant people deserve the spotlight, really, and you actually attended all 4 grueling years at Pleasant Valley High School. If there's something then that I in particular have worth sharing, then it's that I know what it's like to leave what you know for something that excites you. Something that terrifies you maybe, but that you just gotta go for. When I was an exchange student, my sophomore year in Malaysia, I found it so difficult to put this scene on hold. My farm, my cat, my family, my connections with all of you. It was really and truly tough to leave what I knew and loved. But in Malaysia, I had the greatest chance ever to learn the language, about culture and religion, to eat food, but also about family and humility. I was basically a well-meaning fool when I got there, but my community and my host family, they spent so much time helping me out and making me feel at home. As hard as it was to leave here for there, it was even more bittersweet to return. So here I am again, and we all are right now making big changes, leaving home maybe. And I know from my past that you might not think so, but you are going to miss the dreamscape that is Broadsville, where we grew up to see the world's largest ShopRite built right before our eyes. I'll miss Pierce's used bookstore, where $2 bought me a whole new life for a couple of hours. I'll miss the customers at Smale's farm store and all the pups I've snuck biscuits to there. I'll miss the smell of fresh cut hay. Listen, I know we don't have continuous sidewalks and therefore aren't a real town, but what we've had here is ours to love, and it's ours to leave then if we'd like. Remember that you only get one hometown. You only get one very best friend too, as it happens, unless they're twins. Evan Fisher, you are a fast runner. You're the best companion at Mr. P's board. You know how to enjoy a cup of real horror show chai, and you help us to remember your teammate and our very, very dear friend. We miss the memories we could have made with him and everyone that we have. Evan, you make everyone who's ever met you comfortable because of your effervescent kindness. Now on to your twin. Ethan, you are a lover of all the good things in this world, like homemade pasta. You are the brightest kid I've ever met. Our friendship is the most special connection and most treasured tradition in my life. Even more, it's close, but even more than seeing those Bears play the bucket game. You two rock my world. I'm thankful too for the best teachers to roam the earth, Mrs. Parham and Mr. Robbins. Thank you for teaching me to love to learn. To my boyfriend Evan, thank you for taking a chance on me. You are one of a kind and you are wonderful. To my family, Mom, Dad, Jake, my grandparents, Kay, Michelina, Abner, thanks for the best childhood a kid could ask for. Anything I ever learned about hard work, I learned from you. To all of you, graduates, wherever you are headed, I promise you there are people who are patient, loving, and kind. And it is worth your time to forge friendships with them. Because if you're here tonight, you've finished the state-mandated education that has dictated so much of who you are and what you know. And from here on, there will be this element of newness, whatever you do. So enjoy that feeling of possibility, because you've earned it with your diploma. Be grateful for the ones who have loved you along the way. Never forget to pass that forward. I am so proud of you, and I love you so much. Go Bears!
Fantastic job, Emily, and thank you. It's now time for me to introduce the class of 2020, and what a group of young men and women you all are. On March 13th, when you received the call from then Superintendent Dr. Brennan at the time that school was going to be closed for the next 2 weeks, I don't think any of us knew what to expect when those 2 weeks were up. I know what you were all thinking at the time. Yes, 2 weeks? This is longer than Christmas break. What are we going to do tonight? But then many of you probably got home, and maybe that was when reality hit. When Mom and Dad said, "You're not going anywhere." "But Mom, John's allowed to go out." "Don't care." "But Dad, I'll be careful." "Son, we're in the middle of a pandemic." "But they say it doesn't affect." "The state is on lockdown, and you are not going anywhere." Bummer. To make matters worse, when the Christmas break turned house arrest came to an end, you got the second call from Dr. Brennan telling you all about distance learning. Now you were stuck at home, and we were bringing school to you. Minus the social interaction, minus the sports and activities, and minus senior hallway. Reality never hit so hard. But this is where the story turns. And this is where you shine. And I can sum it up in 3 words. You did it. You did it. We made it clear that grades counted and assignments mattered, and you met the challenge. We asked you to bring your classmates not just into your homes, but into your rooms and accept being comfortable with that, and you met the challenge. You had to do more research, type more emails, and create more documents than you ever had before. You met the challenge. Listen, I was in the Google classrooms. You were turning in assignments at midnight and then 7 a.m. that morning. Your work ethic had never been so strong. And here's some great news. Work ethic never leaves you. You'll always remember how hard this was, and no challenge moving forward should ever seem so daunting. Rebecca McCready's touched upon it minutes ago. You are strong. You did all this work dealing with the disappointment of no prom. You're enduring. You busted your tails knowing that your sports and activities were over. You overcame. You didn't let the fact that we didn't even know if we'd have this day get in the way of you making sure you finished the fourth quarter and your high school career the right way, making your teachers, parents, and hopefully yourselves extremely proud. I, and now it is my third year as principal of Pleasant Valley High School, have never been prouder than a group of individuals. I've never respected a group as much as yours. Not only did you show great strength and endurance during the coronavirus closure, but you fight for what you believe in, and you do it the right way. Not everyone we expected to be here today could be with us, but that's not to say that every member of this class doesn't feel each other's love, energy, and compassion, which you have shown such a great deal of on so many of occasions. Class of 2020, what you have done is lay the groundwork for no more excuses. But Mr. Triolo, this is unfair. You want to see unfair? Talk to the class of 2020. They endured. But Mr. Triolo, this is too hard. You want to see too hard? Talk to the class of 2020. They'll show you hard. But Mr. Triolo, you don't understand. No, folks, I do understand. I understand that if you put your mind to something, give it your all, and have the strength to ignore all the barriers that are in your way, you can do anything. Talk to the class of 2020. They are by far the strongest individuals you will ever come across. Seniors, thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Lazisco.
Thank you, Mr. Triolo, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Pocono Raceway. This is certainly an unorthodox graduation ceremony, but I'm glad that we are all here. I am sure that you will never forget sitting in your car on the tarmac at Pocono Raceway, as I know I will never forget this. In 1918, we had the Spanish flu. Today we have coronavirus. Just as the Spanish flu subsided, so too will COVID-19. As you move through life, I challenge you to never stop learning. Whether you go to college, the armed services, or directly to the workforce, become inquisitive. Investigate ideas, ask questions, and get involved. Be a productive member of society. For the class of 2020, I know you didn't come here to listen to me speak, but your parents did. And here are the words you are longing to hear. Ms. Jozwiak, President of the Board of School Directors of the Pleasant Valley School District, by the power invested in me as a commissioned officer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I hereby certify that these seniors have fulfilled all graduation requirements established by the Pleasant Valley School District and therefore are declared graduates and eligible to receive their high school diplomas. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Pleasant Valley High School class of 2020. Good luck in your future endeavors. Make us PV proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lasisko. At this time, we will start our seniors' race to the finish line and begin awarding them their diplomas. Rebecca Ollie. Jesli Alamadovar. Jalen Alston. Katie Altimos. Kaylin Alvarado. Daniel Anderson. Rebecca Andino. Tabitha Andrews. Ricky Annawalt Jr. Tegan Angel. Carly Arndt. Roger Arthur. Crystal Ah. Jason Balbueno. Stacy Ballin. Joseph Balzano. Alfred Barth. Joshua Batista. Tyler Batstone. Jill Bauer. Sarah Bauer. Julia Bauer. Deslin Bede. Madison Birwa. Jeremiah Bailing. Tristan Bennett. Tyler Bennett. Taylor Benskoffer. Justin Barrage. John Barry. Analia Beskovic. Alyssa Beverly. Isabella Boassi. Tyler Bobdeberry. Kristen Bobowski. Nicholas Babinski. Taylor Boland. Brandon Bonafed. Addison Borger. Cassidy Borger. Kevin Boyne. Elijah Bravo. Wyatt Bray. Daniela Breglia. Jamie Brink. Eric Bowie. Danielle Bellegi. Jana Burks. Matthew Burnett. Sarah Burpo. Ashley Cadot. Cameron Caffrey. Coram Capensaco. Taylor Coretta. Ishmael Senexon. William Serbone. Haluski Seton. Chang. William Chechel. Dennis Chelinsky. Andrew Chow. Cassandra Simmerall. Austin Chupa. Joshua Clausen. Piper Clifford. Reagan Cole. Joshua Cologne. Ryan Connors. Rachel Conto. Joseph Cook. Nicholas Carrera. Nathan Counterman. Connor Covart. Justin Cabero. Kaylee Cunningham. Stephen Darling. Aaron Davis. Brianna DeMund. Yaslin Diaz. Sophia DeFusco. Danielle DeMarco. Christina Doyle. Jaden Duran. Mark Edgar. Alexandria Angle. Caesar Estrada. David Evans. Nigeria Farley. Christian Fermin. Kayla Fermin. Gloria Fernandez. Seth Fernandez. Brianna Fernsler. Amanda Ferraro. Tyler Fetty. Andrew Finkelstein. Dora Firestone. Garrett Fisher. Ethan Fisher Perez. Evan Fisher Perez. Jesse Foster. Nicholas Frabel. Kobe Francis. Caitlin Franklin. Sarah Frankunas. David France. Mason French. Jacob Fuentes. Sarah Fulper.
Justin Galarza. Giovanni Garcia. Hunter Garcia. Jason Gattuso. Paige Geltz. Emily George. Olivia Gessel. Emily Gethin. Olivia Getz. Stefan Ginn. Dana Gimlet. Gabriel Gonzalez. Julian Gonzalez. Caitlin Gonzalez. Anna Gordon. Dallas Greenswig. Tyler Garassi. Adam Guzman. Nicholas Guzman. Bethany Haddock. Casey Hafner. Joseph Haldeman. Tayton Harrigan. Madeline Heater. Anthony Hemmett. Thomas Henry. Austin Herna. Catherine Hicks. Cameron Hogue. Stanley Hochfeld. Olivia Holcomb. Tristan Holden. Sawyer Holdorf. Dominic Holman. Jeffrey Holmes. Ryan Honey. Amanda Hook. Hope Hoppy. Austin Horton. Brenna Howell. Tina Wong. Hannah Hunter. Daniel Acapelli. Aya Ibrahim. Julia Yaksuk McLaughlin. Joseph Jaderland. Owen James. Amelia Junta Baker. Anaya Johnson. Kamel Johnson. Sierra Johnson. Megan Jones. Sarah Joseph. Jade Couch. Angel Keehee. Corey Kearns. Michael Kearns. Taylor Kenny. Amanda Keppel. Haley Keppel. Matthew Kilmurray. Mason King. Rebecca Kosmolski. Alyssa Kovacs. Elizabeth Kovacs. Emelina Krautler. Matthew Krzyzewski. Nicole Keener. Skylar Lampron. Matthew Langeal. Moises Laregi. Alexis Lady. Christopher Lamont. Kellyanne Lento. Rebecca Leonard. Grace Liddick. Ryan Lillman. Roberto Livingston. Juliana Lopez. Jeffrey Lucas. Alexandra Luhaskaya. Kieran McDonough. Sydney Madera. Victoria Madurkey. Armani Mason Lawrence. Rebecca Macretis. Cameron Melosi. Karen Manning. Giovanni Marini. Alyssa Marino. Alexander Markowski. Canyon Marks. Anthony Marsh. Brandon Martez. Dylan Martin. Gabriel Masker. Alexander Matos. William Matthew Jr. Michael Matson. Kaylee Mayer. Jacob Mazza. Caitlin McCabe. Mel McCready. Michael McHugh. Daniel McAvoy. Jordan McGrath. Jaden McLaughlin. Ireland McShane. Kaylee Meckes. Nicholas Meckes. Zachary Merrill. Lucianne Mesh. Haley Milbauer. Maddox Morellis. Gianna Molina. Anna Maria Malika. George Moore. Tyler Morgan. Emma Moyer. Cheyenne Munn. Kyle Murphy.
Kendall Nicholson. Blake Nordmeyer. James Norman. Kiara Nui. William Nygaard. Isabella O'Neill. Madison O'Neill. Ryan O'Neill. Stephanie Osterly. Christina Olson. Lauren Olson. Carlos Ortiz. Herbert Ortiz. Lucas Ostrowski. Jacob Oswald. Joshua Paez. Elizabeth Parsons. Justin Pastor. Aaliyah Paul. Elizabeth Pepper. Sarah Pio. Nicholas Perozzi. Sebastian Pichatuski. Julia Polak. Alana Porter. Mason Paulus.
Christopher Price. Ryan Pergar. Marcus Quiles. Sajida Qureshi. Justin Rabick. Viganesh Ramachandran. Curtis Ramos. Olivia Ramos. Fiona Reinhardt. Danny Reno. Ashton Richardson. John Roberts. Lauren Robinson. Christopher Rogers. Ryan Rodriguez. Justin Rojas. Nicholas Rommel. Adam Rosario. Dorian Ross. Jacob Rotz. Sam Rudolph. Ashley Rundle. Dylan Rungo. Amin Saleh. Daniel Sanchez. Michaela Santiago. Tyler Santos. Madeline Schaefer. Joshua Schaffner. Anna Schlichting. Robert Schmidt. Alexander Schuster. Isabella Seepersod. Nathan Sekel. Colin Schaefer. Tyler Serminski. Jamira Smith. Kyle Smith. Ryan Smith. Shannon Smith. Zachary Smith. Kayla Sobers. Brian Sotomayor. Austin Stalter. Faith Steidel. Haley Steidel. Thomas Stevens. Shane Sterner. Emma Stroll. Erica Swigert. Mark Tacarante. Jariah Taylor. Alexis Thomas. Ariana Thoreau. Madison Tiedemann. Natalie Tofil. Fabian Torres. Liam Travers. Dominic Tyner. Alyssa Van Schoik. Sophia Vasquez. Blaze Vasquez. Devin Venegas. Bianca Vieira. Samantha Villano. Alyssa Wagner. Riley Wagner. Elizabeth Wagner. Phoebe Wargo. Jeffrey West. Lauren Wurzba. Ashley Williams. Malachi Williams. Zinnia Williams. Gavin Winders. Alexander Womack. Faith Warden. Brianna Wright. Ahmad Wyatt. Brendan Yip. Great job, graduates. At this time, I'd like to bring your attention back to the Jumbotron and your radios for the singing of the Pleasant Valley Alma Mater by Ethan Fisher Perez, Emily Gethin, Giovanni Marini, and Mr. Triolo.
Oh, come sing Pleasant Valley's praise, our song to Alma Mater raise. With pride we view our white and blue, and cherish memories of you. Loyal sons and daughters we, ever sing our praise to thee. Let others know, sing loud and clear, to this our alma mater dear. Our hallowed walls long may they stand, the greatest school throughout the land. We'll remember in many ways our teachers, classmates, happy days. Loyal sons and daughters we, ever sing our praise to thee. Let others know, sing loud and clear, to this our alma mater dear.
You carry a wonderful tune, Mr. Triolo. At this time, I'd like to welcome back to the Jumbotron our class officers for the Ringing of the Bell presentation.
Tonight, the class of 2020 approaches the end of its long journey through Pleasant Valley history. Pleasant Valley's commitment to the lives and education of its students began over 100 years ago with the opening of Fairview Academy in 1881. Fairview was located at the intersection of Route 209 and 115 in Broadheadsville. At the same time in Gilbert, the Pleasant Valley Academy opened. The Pleasant Valley Academy eventually grew into the Polytech Institute and finally into Polk High School in 1926. 34 years later, in 1960, the Chestnut Hill High School and Polk High School merged into a new school, forming the current Pleasant Valley High School. At the time of the merger, the school incorporated grades 7 through 12. The new Pleasant Valley High School ended the need for one-room schoolhouses in Chestnut Hill, Eldred, Polk, and Ross Townships. Before me is the bell that hung in the steeple of Fairview Academy. Each day this bell rang twice to announce the beginning and end of classes. Tonight the officers of the class of 2020, President Rebecca McCready's, Vice President Ryan Rodriguez, Secretary Amelia Baker, and Treasurer Tegan Angel will participate in the ringing of the bell ceremony, a tradition that began in 1991. The act of ringing the bell by each graduate symbolizes the end of our graduation ceremony and their roles at Pleasant Valley High School, and at the same time signals the entrance of the class of 2020 into the real world.
Great job, everyone. At this time, to recognize the graduation of our students, traditionally there is the turning of the tassels from right to left to signify you are now a graduate. So class of 2020, At this time, we ask that you please turn your tassels from right to left. Now you are going to take a lap around the Pocono Raceway, signifying victory that you are now a Pleasant Valley School District graduate. I do want to inform all guests that the ceremony does not end until the last graduate car completes the victory lap and has left the racetrack. Please do not move your cars until directed to do so by Raceway staff. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2020.